Okay, this is my OneTigris tent. It's the one that is the 4-season with a stove jack in it, so you can put a heater in it. But I haven't taken this up before, and I'm just checking to see how it goes into the snow. So in the backyard, doing a field test. I don't have much snow here, so I'm creating my own dead man anchor. Basically, I took some water and froze those into the ground. There's about 3 inches of snow underneath. And I guess I could have laid these on their side to really isolate them in there, but we'll try it out like this. Did that all the way around. Gotta wait a little while for these to freeze in. These are the pegs that come with the tent. Okay, so it will be a 5-foot center pole when I put it in, hopefully later tonight. My aim is to actually see if I can get a cot in there. Here's the door. You can see it also has a strap, a tied guy line, so you can put it into the ground. There's the stove jack. I hope you can see that. Has a vent there and over there. And we'll let that go. It is about -10 tonight. It's supposed to be +1 tomorrow afternoon. So if this freezes in the next hour or two, I'll get out the heater, the little wood stove, pop it in there, and get set up for tomorrow. It's been 24 hours. Let's put the 5-foot center pole in and see if my anchors hold. Okay, I'm just gonna go around, tighten up my guy lines, then we'll take a look at the inside. Woo, gee. That one's iced in, it ain't going nowhere. There we are. Yay! Well, before I should have done, I would have done that. Should have got my vent open. Oh well. Stove jack hole. Let's go take a look at the inside. Okay, I would have to pile snow up around the bottom. That's fine by me. And there it is with the reinforced top on it. reinforced seams. Those guy lines on the outside to pull out the sides from the inside. Look at it from the outside. Buy this. It doesn't come with the silicone sleeve for the hole, so you have to buy it separately or make one yourself. And that's what I did. There's the bit. One on the other side. So this OneTigris setup, or all the generics on Amazon, don't come with the silicone sleeve to fill your hole. So what I did, because they were out of inventory at the time, and I didn't feel like waiting, I made one for myself. The material that's on there, Velcro, is a hook and a loop. That's the loop, the soft side. I went and I found a grocery store oven mat. And this one is fiberglass weave, covered in silicone. I cut it to the right size. I sewed the hook side of the Velcro on, and I'll put that on there right away and I'll show you. This one is the one that you buy off Amazon officially for it. It's supposed to be fitted to that size and everything. Finally came about 2 months later. So this side is a hook, this side is a loop. It's universal, and you have to cut out your own hole and make it fit to whatever you need, blah blah blah. But this is the same thing. This is a fiberglass weave. This was 25 bucks. This was 5. So yeah, I went and I had the Velcro myself, so I had everything I needed at home. 5 bucks versus 25 bucks. Took an extra 2 months, had this within 2 days. Look at that. The one from Amazon just barely fits. Just barely, catches the edges. I measured mine right up to the edge. There we go. Let's go find a little wood stove, stick it in there, and see how she fits. You'll notice before, I didn't have any gloves on. Is that Velcro? You're just fighting with it all damn day because it's grabbing at your mitts. Could have had my leather ones on. This is a 3-inch stovepipe, so I cut the hole to 3 inches. It's very important, whatever your chimney stack size is, put it way above the peak of your building. In this case, I'm 5 feet, the point is 5 feet. That's probably 6, 7 before the opening. You want those sparks going everywhere but landing on your tent. Now let's go take a look at the inside. And then it goes up, right through the hole. And that one from the grocery store is a baking sheet that's rated at 450 Fahrenheit. Or the stack shouldn't be getting that high. And then I have a little fan that I can put on top, help circulate heat. It's actually quite cozy in here. There's a vent. Here's the other vent. Here's where the fire will be. Let's see if I can get in there. There's some ash in there. I already used it a couple times. Before I get settled in for the night, I want to show you something. And it's a good thing I'm doing this before I head out into the field. So you can see, I've got all the guy lines together and they're pulling out. They're structurally stable there. Got it pulled out at nice angles away from the bottom. Take a look at this front. Pretty flat. I'm not happy with that. So I've obviously not set up the front properly compared to the other side. I don't know. Let's see. There's a better shape of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a spare guy line that I have and a spare peg, and I'm going to anchor it in the snowbank because I don't want to light that stove until I've made sure I've pulled the walls away from the heat source. Okay, what I've done is I've probably stretched it too wide when I pegged it down at the bottom. That's probably why I have the flat spot. So what I've done, and this is not a structural point, but I've taken the roll-up loop and I've used that, and then it went all the way out and did my snow anchor. So I'll have to be more careful next time I open it up. And when I'm sleeping in the night, I'll have to be careful if I have to get out, because this is right in the way of escaping if that something happens and it burns down the tent on me. There's the opening. And I have all of the backyard if I need to make a fast escape, or out the other side there, out to the bird feeder. One thing I think they have done right is their guy lines have very subtle, but they are reflective threads in the guy lines. There they are. So that's really awesome. They really light up in the dark. So just to be the same, I took that with the string I have as well. Okay, let's go to make some supper. I bought a stovepipe temperature gauge so I can see where my fire is burning at. It is nice and warm in here. Okay, with the wood stove going in here, this tent is actually trapping quite a lot of heat really well. So it looks like it's right now about +3 or 4, which would be about 36 or so Fahrenheit. That's starting to smell good. And that's just steak with some Montreal steak spice on it. Nothing too fancy. My water's boiling and I'm going to make some hot chocolate. Time to use my new backpacker mug from GSI. Okay, and while that's finishing up, we're going to throw in some veggies with it. Okay, we're going to put the lid back on that, let it melt, finish cooking for a couple minutes, everything heat through, and then that'll be supper. Okay, that looks like we have a good supper. It took long enough, and what I learned about that is this stove needs to be reworked. Need to go home, work on the airflow. It is producing almost no heat, no flame whatsoever, unless I have the door open. Guess what happens when I have the door open? I get smoked out of this tent. Why do I get smoked out of this tent? Because it's just that good at holding in heat and no upper airflow to push any of it out the vents. The only upper vents here are for light respiratory air exchange, I suppose. So I'm gonna go eat this. It looks good. Took me an hour and a half to make it, and I'm sure I'll enjoy it. But so far, the tent is really good at holding in heat. Here's a design issue, is they put an anchor point at the bottom of the door on the outside of the flap. There's the door. So I guess unless you want to lock somebody in, so to speak, from the outside, there you go. Another design quirk that I think could be improved would be the front panel where the door is has no pull-out anchor points. So I presume they want the pipe of the wood stove to hold out the front, but this whole panel here, these two sections, don't stick out, they just lay flat. See, there's this anchor point here off of this part of it, and I probably shouldn't have, but I did just for the sake of trying it. I actually went and got one of my own guy lines and put that in, and I used the actual tie back of the door. Now I don't think that loop is probably strong enough to hold this if I were to put some real hard tension on it, because it's probably not reinforced, but I did it anyway. It'd be really nice if they stuck another guy line on the back of the door. Another thing I wish they had thought of when they put in the zipper is they went with a one-way zipper, and it would be really nice if, for the sake of using the stove, if it ever got smoky in here, these roof vents that they've designed just aren't quite enough to move out any kind of a smoke or anything. So instead of crawling all the way under the bottom of the A-frame to the snow, to the floor, to the ground, if you had a two-way zipper that unzipped from the top down, that would be really good. So then you could pop down the first 30-40 centimeters or foot and a half or so of door flap and let fresh air in. Yes, this design is not designed to go all the way to the ground. There is a 5 centimeter or 2 inch margin all the way around the bottom where it seems to be off the ground, so airflow comes in from underneath. Having that double zipper that opens at the top would also be really helpful in the middle of the night if you need to get up to, you know, go use the facilities, leave the tent for something. And especially if you needed an emergency egress, you could either roll out the bottom, obviously, or sleep with your knife and cut your way out. But sometimes it's just nice to have that double zipper at the top for a quick exit. Another thing last night while I was cooking, had the wood stove going. I have a bit of a bigger wood stove, but even if it were smaller, it'd probably sit back a little bit more. However, one thing I found was that this aluminum pole did not get hot. It was cozy warm to the touch. But the fact that it sits right here in front of the heat source, nice thing is aluminum dissipates heat really nicely, and that did not get to hot, or I didn't get burned when I touched it. So that's a point for the pros of this tent. Pros for the construction of this tent are all of the seams are taped. and double stitched. The stove jack is built really solidly. The material is really durable. It actually has quite a wide layout, and in the daylight that's more than I was expecting. When I was in here in the dark, it just seemed to be one tiny confined space. Another pro is they have one tiny hook at the top, so you can hang whatever you need that's important up there, as well as 3 hoops on the seams, on 3 different seams, that also allow you to hang things. For me, that would be a place to put my glasses. Another pro is the stove jack window rolls up really well, stays out of the way, and then when you close it, it's secured nice and tight. Pro, the roof vents have a little stabilizer bar at the bottom that stay open. Pro, the floor stakeout guy lines are easy to use. Loosen off, just pull. Pro, all the guy lines are highly reflective, and that's great for the middle of the night for not tripping over them. Not ugly, highly reflective, but they really do sharply catch your eye in the dark. Pro, reinforced guy line anchor flaps right there. That's also double stitched into the seam on the inside. Pro, 2 really nice long door tie backs. Some tents have these really short, and they're a son of a gun to get together. Lots of length. And the Velcro at the bottom of the door, if you just want to push it in instead of zipping all the way down. Is my full-length climate pad, and there is room with a sleeping bag to be in here, so the heat source is going to be right there, and it was really warm in here at that. So if you're a small person or have the ability to cramp a tall body into really small spaces, this tent will work for you. This will be fine. All the reviews were pretty good as to the quality, and delivery was quick, and you know, it's exactly as advertised. This one that I purchased came with the internal room, so it's definitely 4 season. So you can, in the summertime, it has a screen with a floor, and that'll keep your mosquitoes and bugs out. That's definitely a pro. The actual product itself, OneTigris, this is a good product. If this is the style you like to use, go ahead, order from them. You'll enjoy it. I have one more con to show you. Let's head outside the tent and we'll take a look at the clips that they bring with the guy line. It's an innovative in-house remodification or style of their own, and I find it isn't very secure. But then again, I don't know how to use it. So if anybody out there can make a video or show me a video, or even just guide me to a web page that tells me how to use these clips, the way I'm using them, I'm not happy with them. I would definitely take them off the guy line and replace them with the 3-hole plastic one, which is pretty much foolproof. Okay, these are their in-house guy line clasps. Oh, that worked really well. Okay, I just ran that on the outside. Okay, so when you get it, this tent, this is how they come. And I've never seen that before, so I had no idea what to do with it. So I finally figured out you have to pry this out of the back piece. Which then gives you a loop. Okay, so you run your guy line through the hole if you want. So that goes like that. And then you would think that would be tight. That actually holds okay, but it does tend to slip. If your tent isn't tight, it will move. So what I did was I pushed it. Oh, let's see how did I do this. I pushed it toward the knot. The bottom, I pushed away from the knot. And then that held it, because when I pushed the bottom away, then the top came in, and by doing that, there are grooves on the inside which bite the rope and hold it tight. I don't know, I hope you can see those. It's not very easy. So you could either leave it at full length like that, and then push it like that, I think. I don't know. And then the other option was, I didn't know what to do, so I just pulled it like this. And then did the same thing where I pushed it this direction, pinched it that way, and then it was right there. So if anybody knows how these in-house OneTigris clips are supposed to work, it'd be great to make a video and let everybody else know, because I couldn't find any instruction anywhere on YouTube or on the home website of OneTigris or anything. If anybody knows, let everybody else know. So that's my first impression with the OneTigris 4-season tent with the stove jack in it, and I think overall it's a good product. I think for the quality of what you get, it's done really well, but I think the price point is a little bit high for the Canadian market. As for pros and cons, the cons are only 2 cons with one personal preference, and the pro list is a lot longer. So if you like this kind of tent and this is what you're into, I would say it would be a good investment for you and you would enjoy it out on the trail. Thanks for watching.